Oh man, he's just like me. You know what I love about underground games? That their fans are so dedicated that they will never shut up about how awesome those games are until you play them. That is not a complaint because, think about it for a second. There has to be a genuine reason as to why they are so passionate about them. In fact, a friend of mine was so insistent he sent me this message. Luis, I'm lending you my Nintendo Switch account. Play No More Heroes and review it. You fucker. How can I say no to that? Alright, so what do I know about No More Heroes? Not much, really. I know it was made by Melasuda. Oh, hold on. Oh, his name is Goichi Suda, but he writes it as Suda51. Go-ichi! That's clever. I still won't explain what Melasuda means in Spanish. I am only familiar with some of his games. Killer 7, which apparently it's pronounced Killer's Heaven, Lollipop Chainsaw, and Killer is Death. As far as I'm aware, No More Heroes is like his most beloved work. So much to the point where their fans have been begging to put the protagonist Travis Touchdown in Super Smash Bros. No! I feel bad for them. But again, if they go through those lengths, then that must mean there has to be something special behind these games. To clear any doubts, I'll only be focusing on the first game, and I'll be playing the Switch version with the Pro Controller. No motion controls because... yeah, that. Even though Nintendo says it's not a real issue. I don't know what I'm getting myself into, but that's part of the excitement. I get it now! No More Heroes is... Alright, from a pure gameplay standpoint, I think it's appropriate to call this a character action game. Armed with nothing but his beam katana, Travis Touchdown must slice and chop through a hordes of enemies, looking to kill the best 10 assassins in the world. Why?
I want to be number 1. How's that? Short and simple enough for you?
Even in said genre, No More Heroes doesn't reach the same level of depth as other competitors like Devil May Cry or Bayonetta. On the contrary, this game sports a super basic high and low attack system combined with a few quicktime events. Travis can strike in 2 different altitudes, which usually boils down to either attack where the enemy isn't blocking or hitting their defense to stun them. Depending on your pick, a different path will open to you. You can execute your enemies in a very bloody fashion, potentially killing other goons if they happen to be close, or use stylish wrestling maneuvers. The weirdest aspect of the game is how it chooses to hide its mechanics in the shadows. If you execute an enemy, a slot machine will start to spin. Match 3, and Travis will enter this dark side mode. A state that, put simply, makes you really fucking powerful. Now, depending on the slots you get, the effects of Darkseid change considerably. What do they do? That is up to you to figure it out. Then there's this other mechanic, where if you dodge the moment right before getting hit, you slow down time, leaving enemies open for a barrage of attacks. At first I thought it was something that could occasionally happen, but no, it's something you can learn and abuse. It's a great mechanic that helps a lot, but I have to repeat myself. The game leaves that up to you entirely. I can also recall so many moves I did with the beam katana that today, I still have no idea how I pull them off. Even with the hidden mechanics, the combat in No More Heroes is still not very deep, and it doesn't take you long to realize how little resistance the enemies give. That sounds like a negative. But wanna know how even with that it still manages to shine? Because the game just feels so good. It's always kept fast and fluid. It's stylish, and it's also rewarding. The kick of adrenaline the player gets from taking out 5 enemies in a single slash while Travis mocks them really adds to the madness. You really don't have much reason to do a wrestling move over an execution, but you are still tempted to do them because they are very satisfying to pull off. The combat may be simple, but I'll be lying if I said it never gets stalled. And there is no other place this shines more than the boss battles. No More Heroes is one of those games where every boss is as intense as it is fun. And once they come on screen, that is when you realize smashing buttons won't get you any results. The bosses are so fascinating, in a way that each and every single one of them is so distinct from one another. Their designs are so unique and exaggerated, but it's also how they translate that to their movesets, to the point where all of them will give Travis shit but for entirely different reasons, while still demanding the player to bring their A game. You know what's one of my favorite things here? Right before you begin a ranked assassin battle, you get a voice that whispers their name along with a quote from them.
What's that in your hand? A toy?
That's an effective way to get me hyped for the upcoming battle. And they never disappoint. Easily the best part of the game. The effort and time you must dedicate to reach them is always worth it. What do I mean by this? Well, No More Heroes isn't just hacking and slashing, because it also has open world elements, and this is the part that leaves me very mixed. Okay, you see, before you can take on a ranked assassin battle, Travis must pay off a certain amount of money. How do you gather cash? That's where the open world comes in. The town of Santa Destroy, yes, that is the actual name, has everything you could expect. From buying clothes, hit the gym to increase your stats, go to the laboratory to get new katanas, and of course, take on part-time jobs and assassination gigs to earn money. All of this is great. I particularly love customizing Travis with all the clothing options you get. Don't think I didn't notice all the Mexican representation in there. Always happy to see that. I also really like how diverse and entertaining the part-time jobs were. But in order to connect these things, an open world was made, which is a positive and a negative aspect in my opinion. The free roaming is fine to let the players rest a bit from the excitement of fighting an assassin. I like Santa Destroy, it adds to the charm of the game. I love going at full speed with my bike, and I was surprised with how fast I got used to it thanks to many recognizable landmarks, which is great because this minimap is a confusing mess to decipher. But I'll be real, there's nothing of worth to do here, other than collecting balls you can exchange for special abilities. So after you collect the ones you need, then what? The open world loses all meaning other than getting from one place to the next. And the more you play the game, you realize how intrusive the map gets, to the point where it feels less like a world and more like a glorified, overly long loading screen that just gets in the way. Some missions can be quite strict, and let me tell you, if you do nothing in them, you can restart, no problem. But if you do even the smallest of progress and get an extremely shitty reward, you still have to go back to the building where you take them, and drive all the way back to the mission. A retry button would have helped a lot. By the endgame, I was so scarce on money due to the requirements for the true ending, so I had to repeat the same job over and over, meaning that every time I had to take the exact same route to it until I had all I needed. Easily the lowest point for me, because it brought the great pacing to a halt. Let's recap everything I've said by far. The combat is super basic, but it holds well due to how frantic it is, boosted further by excellent boss battles. The open world, while it offers fun activities, ultimately becomes a chore to traverse and doesn't have much reason to exist. When I put it that way, it makes one think. Why is No More Heroes so beloved? I can give you a list of games with deeper combat mechanics or have open worlds that are actually worth a damn exploring. That much is true, but we are forgetting the most important part. I will tell you, this is the stupidest game I've ever played. But it's a different brand of stupid. Right off the bat, you are hit in the face with this intro cinematic. Fast while being full of energy and quirky dialogue. And before you know it, you are already slicing people and rolling heads, climbing your way through the best assassins. Just by playing the first hour, one can already tell. Oh my. This is gonna be one of those games, right? Character action games have always been self-aware and over the top. No More Heroes is such a weird specimen because it has all of that. But more than trying to replicate what other games of the genre do, it's as if it's poking fun at them. The reality is, the story of No More Heroes is almost non-existent. It's not until the end where it tries to do something, but it's really fucking weird. It doesn't want to tell a deep story, but it really doesn't need to. Its main goal is to fuck with the player. There's two strong suits to the narrative. The first being the tonal whiplash. It's a game where one moment you are decapitating your enemies. The next you find yourself mowing someone's lawn. 5 minutes later, a woman blows her head off by putting an active grenade in her mouth. Followed by you setting yourself on fire by pumping gas the wrong way. And we can't also forget, this is a thing that actually happens.
Hey, he's over here!
It's a constant radical shift in tone, but the matter of fact is, the way in which No More Heroes executes them really makes it work, because that was clearly the intention. The other strength lies in the characters. I don't know what to make of Travis. It's like he has all that bravado I would expect from these games. But unlike, say, Dante or Bayonetta, he's a full-blown loser who acts out of self-interest.
Okay, how about this? If I become number one, will you do it with me?
Yet, I still found him to be a very likable and charismatic lead. Mostly due to how he adds to the absurdity of the game, and because he has moments where he shows a more humane side. These ones in particular, ironically, feel like an oddity given the context of all you're doing.
Meow.
Oh man. He's just like me. The supporting cast is great. Sylvia never failed to make me laugh. But for me, nobody brings more to the table than the assassins. The fact that they are so different isn't just beneficial from a gameplay standpoint, because it also reflects on their identity. The bosses in the game are so original and entertaining that it made me remember their names. How'd you do that? Except for the magician, but only because I can't pronounce his name. Thank you! I'm gonna put Destroyman as an example. For me, he was the easiest battle in the entire game due to how predictable he was. If that was all, he would have simply vanished from my mind. But it was his overall demeanor and interactions with Travis that made him such a standout for me. That's another strong point. It's the dynamic between the assassins and Travis that make every encounter so memorable. You're not fighting villains, they're more like rivals, and that perception makes the battles feel bigger. I also want to add, I fucking love the voice acting in this game. The dialogue is cheesy, but given the tone of the game, that's definitely intentional. This is a case where you can tell every single voice actor was having a lot of fun with their characters, and that of course paid off.
I am 3,602,600,218% certain you will die.
I know I played a port, but I should still note that No More Heroes doesn't look bad at all. The cel-shaded graphics definitely help the models age well. It has some stilted animations, but those are extremely easy to overlook. The game runs smoothly with rarely any frame drops. I noticed some weird pauses while breaking some boxes, but again, nothing that will ruin the experience. And the presentation holds well. The game has style and I won't take that away from it. From the loading screens, the dark side attacks, or the boss battles, it wants to show off, and I think it does it well. One last thing. I found the soundtrack weird at first because almost nothing stuck with me aside from a few standouts and the main theme that plays all the time. Even with that, I still thought it was quite forgettable. But here's what happened. Whenever I write a script, I usually tend to listen to the music of the game I'm talking about to keep myself focused. That's when I finally realized, this soundtrack is fucking amazing! The reason why much of it didn't stick with me at first is because the action is so enjoyable that it takes priority over the music. But give this score a listen and you'll see how it fits so well with the game. Because I'll tell you, when it goes hard, it fucking does.
Como dicen los chavos de ahora, esto es muy cool.
I also found out that some songs never left the Wii version, which is a shame because they are great tracks too. This one in particular, Heavenly Star, give it a listen, it's great stuff. Fuck copyright laws, by the way. I felt like saying that.
No More Heroes is one of the weirdest and most unique games I have played. It was its tone and originality that made it stand out. Sure, it had some unnecessary stuff, but I don't regret spending a single minute on it. Once again, I can say that I'm very thankful that its fans never shut up until I tried it. And I'm more than excited to play No More Heroes 2. It's probably gonna fuck with me again, but I know that if I apply the same mentality as I did here, I'm bound to love it just as much. Want to know what that mentality is?
No preguntes. Solo gózalo.